If we're changing out a faucet in our home, that's easy. I can go to YouTube, follow the procedures. I don't have to be a plumber. It's pretty easy. But if I'm changing a saw blade in a manufacturing facility and there's potential for me to get hurt, I want more than just a video that I'm watching. We create digital simulations that can be practiced anywhere, anytime with a web-based browser.
Hello, welcome to EdTech Leaders. Today we have Guy Harrington, the president and CEO of SimTutor. Guy, the way I think of it is that SimTutor transforms traditional learning that used to be done by reading textbooks into virtual hands-on practice. Is that fair?
That is fair. When we think about where education has come, we've started with textbooks and then moved into PDFs and digital assets, and then all the learning management systems and everything that have taken place in this transformation. And SimTutor sits at the top of that, where we take content where you're developing skills or procedures, and we create digital simulations that can be practiced anywhere, anytime with a web-based browser and a computer, a phone, a tablet, whatever it is that you have access to. You can go through the skills necessary to be successful in whatever that procedure is, and makes the learning interactive.
So give me an example.
So SimTix is one of our products, and we specialize in the allied health field, where we are targeting medical procedures for medical assistants, dental assistants, radiographers, and so forth. We can take the drawing of blood, for example, and we can practice all of those skills on the browser with our SimTix simulations. And if we think about students that are going through the process and learning how to draw blood or give an injection, they have to poke and stick mannequins in the classroom or in the lab. And then as they progress through their learning, they ultimately go to live people. Well, I don't want to be the person getting stuck by students trying to figure out where my veins are. If they can go into the simulations in SimTix and practice those procedures, we get very detailed. We can get the angle of the needle, the depth of the needle, and simulate actually drawing blood to replicate what a real life experience would be for those students.
And do you see the improvement, for example, in that specific example, when they go to a human, that they're much faster at being able to draw blood?
They are. They've built the psychomotor skills and the cognitive memory of what those procedures and the steps are to go through that process, from setting up and washing their hands to applying the tourniquet to drawing the blood. They're much more proficient. They have a higher level of confidence, and they see that when they actually get into a lab and get into a clinic and actually practice that they already know what they should be doing and have a lot more confidence with it.
That's cool. And they're able to go straight from that to a human, or do they go in between? They don't use the mannequin at all?
Sometimes they'll use the mannequin as well, but what we're seeing now is a lot more programs that are using our allied health content to be able to go and do virtual learning, and a hybrid model where a lot of the students aren't even going into a school. And so they practice with our simulations. And then when they go in for a lab or go in for a clinical, they're able to practice that experience on a mannequin first. And then in any internships or any job placement they get, they actually start working with humans.
Cool. So that, in the medical example you're giving me, you've created those simulations, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
And then
that's our out of the box.
That's it. So you have the out of box solution that you've created, and then SimTutor also has the ability to create your own simulation, right?
That is correct. So our SimTutor Author product is becoming one of the industry's leading content development tools and resources that a lot of industries are utilizing. Because if you think about a variety of skills or procedures that you may need to do, whether it be in manufacturing, where you're working with specialized pieces of equipment, or you're working in labs or highly specialized areas where you're dealing with chemicals and other hazardous materials. You want to make sure that the people who are performing those jobs and working in those environments have all the safety protocols and skills necessary before placing them in a live learning environment. And so our authoring tool allows us to take digital assets, whether you have a PowerPoint and you want to upload the PowerPoint and make that interactive, we can do that immediately within our platform. We are an approved Microsoft partner and work with the teams and be able to develop and create content in those environments. And the goal really is to bring digital assets into the learning process.
Cool. So give me another example in manufacturing or some other industry.
So in manufacturing, for example, we do a lot with specialized pieces of equipment where they have to be able to mix formulas, get the correct measurements, set the gauges, set the tools, the resources, any of the equipment that they're using to very specific standards. And so we can replicate all of that. So for example, if we were changing a saw blade in a sawmill, it's a very dangerous process that when we think about safety and compliance and all of those things from the federal government with OSHA and all the other regulatory bodies that are looking out for the protection of the employees, we want to make sure that they can change that saw blade so that they know how to shut off the equipment, use the proper tools, take the blade off of the saw, replace it, and then put a new one in. Follow all of the steps and procedures to make sure that the machine is not on, that they're not going to lose a finger or an arm in the process, and that everyone in the surrounding area is following those procedures. And so we have the ability to build that, and the employee or the on-the-job training that's going on with those types of scenarios, the candidates can go through that process, complete the simulations in their web browser, and then go into the manufacturing center and actually change the saw blade step by step. It's like what we all do now, where we go onto YouTube or other web-based products and you watch a video. Well, that's fine for some learning, but when we get into specialized things, if we're changing out a faucet in our home, that's easy. I can go to YouTube, follow the procedures. I don't have to be a plumber. It's pretty easy. But if I'm changing a saw blade in a manufacturing facility and there's potential for me to get hurt, I want more than just a video that I'm watching. I want to be able to engage with that content. I want to be able to utilize that content to make sure I know everything that I'm doing and that I've passed an exam or demonstrated proficiency to get an approved score.
So let's say someone's making it themselves. What's the process? Do they upload a picture of the saw, then a separate picture of the saw blade, and all these different visual assets?
Yeah, so it's real simple to capture the digital assets, whether it's pictures or videos. A lot of time, manufacturers of specialized equipment or tools have training videos or resources that they provide to the customer or the company that they're working with. And we're able to take those assets and build simulations on top of them to distribute to the employees.
Okay, because they can upload assets and you'll help them build the simulation.
Yeah, we have two models basically to look at. There's the do-it-yourself, which will take you through a training process and walk you through how to use the SimTutor authoring tools to create and develop the simulations. And what we find is that in the early stages, our product doesn't require any coding. It doesn't require any specialized learning to be able to develop content. If you're a learning and development specialist, or you develop courses, or you work in HR, it's really simple. If you can navigate any other of the authoring tools, it's real easy for you to go in, upload. We even have AI built into the platform, so you can go in and type, I'm going to change a saw blade in my factory. It's a 14-inch blade, it's and you lay out all the specifications. Then our tool will generate the form and lay out all the different steps in the process that you want to do to create that simulation, and even direct you to the types of hotspots, the videos, pictures, whatever it is that you're building that content with, and show you exactly where to place that. So it takes a lot of the heavy lifting. It's kind of like storyboarding, if you will, in a traditional sense. If you're building any kind of content, or you're going for a video shoot, or you're doing any kind of process where you have assets that you've captured the procedure. It's real simple then to go into our platform and add a hotspot, to take the pictures and put them in motion, to add the content, the soft skills, any of those other resources that are going to be necessary in the learning process into that simulation. And our tool lays it all out for any developer to do that. And when I say developer, we're not talking about coding. We're talking about content developers, authors, learning and development design curriculum folks, any of those type of people that are responsible for creating trainings or professional development or onboarding type things.
That's amazing. So can your AI actually animate like a still, or you upload a video, or it will find an existing video?
Yeah, so we have a couple of different options for those imports of data. So you can generate content and digital assets in the library for the assets that we have. You can bring your own digital assets. And then with AI, you have the ability to also generate assets. And that's getting much more proficient as we look at simple procedures like in the medical field or manufacturing or in safety, aerospace, for example, or other areas that folks are reaching out saying, how do we get through some of these safety protocols? And we have a lot of great content, but what we don't have is a library that we can access. And so we work with them to procure libraries, and you can import your entire asset library into our platform and use it, or you can use resources within the platform, and AI does a lot to help generate that.
Do you have some clients that are using multiple simulations that they're building up, and they have like 50 or 100, and someone needs to search through them? I mean, how big is this getting in terms of use?
It would surprise most people to know that digital assets and simulations is becoming the wave of the future, and it's already with us. We are seeing with our university partners that we work with and with the companies and corporations that we're working with that everybody wants to go to just-in-time learning in modularized short chunks. So if I have 5 minutes before I get off break and I'm getting ready to go back onto the floor, or I'm getting ready to go into the warehouse, or I'm going into the manufacturing center, whatever it is, I can go and watch that simulation, perform that procedure on my phone, and then walk into the library. So it's just in time, the return on investment for organizations, because they want to be able to use these assets immediately and being able to be immersed in the procedures and the skill development. That's what all of them are doing. And, coming out of COVID, when we look at COVID, what it did is really forced the industry to look at how do we develop content and resources for folks that aren't all sitting in a classroom, or they're not all sitting in a training center. They want to be able to log in, access in a learning management system or on a platform like ours, to be able to go in and consume that content, utilize it, get their scores, and be able to pass proficiency exams and other assessments to be successful. And simulations allow them to do that.
Who are some of your biggest clients right now?
In the higher ed sector, we are really focused with the allied health. So we have folks like MedCerts, and we work with publishing companies as well. We've worked with a variety of organizations that are really focused on bringing this content. So a lot of your allied health programs that are utilizing content are using our simulations as well.
So those are not necessarily individual companies, but explain that a little bit.
We have a number of companies as well that are utilizing our assets, and we have shared with some of the largest players in the world at an international level that are talking about how do we go through and build our safety protocols, how do we do our compliance monitoring, all of those types of things. And some of the contracts that we're working with right now are very specialized and very detailed to the industry and some of the proprietary things that they're working on. But the ability to go into a platform and have those simulations developed is what everybody's looking for now.
Well, so what have you, to switch to marketing for a second, how do you sell? What has worked for you so far?
Well, the big thing is that when we look at return on investment for companies, we can't if we're a large international organization or even a small organization, we don't have the bandwidth to bring everybody into a training center to hold an annual conference or do any of those things. It's very cost prohibitive these days to fly somebody in, bring 200 or 2,000 people into a room, sit, watch a PowerPoint, watch a few videos, get the lecture from the stage, if you will. That model is an old, antiquated model. What folks are looking for now is the ability to standardize their training, standardize their operating procedures, and put them in a format that everybody, regardless of the trainer, regardless of the instructor, regardless of the delivery time frame, they get the same training, they get the same standards, they get the same high quality interactions through the simulations with SimTutor.
But how do you get the word out? How do you get new clients?
Yeah, so we do a lot right now with a marketing campaign talking about the change in moving from didactic content to this digital learning and revolution that's taking place. And it resonates very well when we reach out to folks and ask them, are you getting a return on investment? Do you have the ability to scale your training organizations? And they all love the idea of what they can do. And so when we do demos and when we share what the platform capabilities are, the ease of use, and we're talking with folks that have been creating content for, decades, and they go, if I wish I would have had this platform from day one. It is so intuitive, it's so simple, it's so easy for us to utilize it that it speaks for itself once they get a chance to see it. So our job is really with our sales and marketing efforts to get the word out, to share with organizations that there are other platforms, there are other ways in which you can deliver your content, not just traditional books, manuals, procedures that are on paper and pencil type things, but with the digital assets that are out there now and all the things that have been going on for the last 10 years or so. It's now time for those things to continue to grow and expand. And you look at the integration of all the AI, and with our marketing efforts, we can talk to that. And people understand now that there is a change in the marketplace. There's a new way in which learning is being developed, and everybody's looking for alternative methods. So as long as we're out there and doing things like being on your show and sharing the word is really important for us, because we believe that in the future, everybody will learn this way.
Yeah. So you use social media, you email, and when people know about you and you can do a demo, then they see the benefit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's great. What's the goal for the next 6 months, year? Where do you see the company going?
Yeah, the next 6 months, we'll continue to have an impact, get into the marketplace, share the benefits of our platform, and the implementations and the rollouts that we are doing with these large corporations and within higher ed are having a direct impact. And I think we'll see over the next 12 months a true tipping point where everyone will start calling us saying, we've heard about your great platform and we want to be a part of that. We want to integrate it. I'm in the process right now of talking to a large number of other content creation platforms, learning management systems, because they see the value in the tool and they want to get it incorporated into any of the authoring programs and resources that are being utilized to create this content.
There's so much speculation about how fast, where we'll be with AI in the next 6 months, year, 5 years, 10 years. Where do you see this? Where can you imagine this is going to be in a few years?
Well, if you look at the technological advances over the last 2 to 3 years, even post-COVID, and everything from the scramble that started with how do we meet in person? Well, everybody jumped on Zoom or Google Classroom or whatever the case was to be in a video platform, to now you can literally sit down with AI and start to type in prompts and get feedback and get the bare bones for structures on different learning objects that you're trying to create. But I can see in the future that virtual reality, augmented reality is going to play a significant part in the learning and training and development, and artificial intelligence is going to help to create those learning paths and then allow people to kind of pick their path, if you will. It's the traditional methods of sitting in the classrooms or training centers and sitting at a desk and watching a video or watching a presentation are over. We want to be engaged in that. We want to have real world immersion experiences. And I can see in the very short future, we already have a lot of virtual reality, and we're working on some of those programs as well. But right now, the goal is to be the bridge between what was the old didactic learning way to the new way. And our web-based product is the only one of its kind that allows you to go in and create these simulations without the VR headsets, without the hardware, the software, and some of the drawbacks like people wearing them, getting dizzy, not having good fields of vision. Some of those challenges that you're seeing out there, that gets better every day with the continued investment in the technology and artificial intelligence. When we think about learning, is going to have a direct impact. And if we believe some of the speculation and what's being forecast, the impact on the medical processes and being able to engineer and develop very complex solutions to real world problems with all the artificial intelligence and the technology that's being developed is going to just accelerate tremendously over the next 3 to 5 years.
Amazing. So if someone wants to check you out, SimTutor.com.
Yes, sir. It's a simple SimTutor.com, and there you can find out all you want to know about SimTutor's SimTix product, which is out of the box for allied health, but more importantly, for all of our colleagues and friends across the workforce development, vocational rehabilitation, higher education, corporate training and development. They can go to SimTutor.com and find our authoring tool so that they can create content, develop enriched digital assets that is going to get a large return on investment for their organization.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for your time today, Oliver. I appreciate it.